What is up, my good people of the internet? Dan Tortora here, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate your patience here this morning as we got set and ready to go for you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where you are watching and listening on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you so much for tuning in central and upstate New York, all through the state of New York, down to our second hub of Florida, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Once the shows go live, they jump into the archive on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. So however you're connected with the show today, we appreciate you so much for being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and thank you for all that you do to connect with us all the time on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. We got an awesome show set up here for you today. I'm very excited, as always, to bring you Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and everything that we have to offer. We've had some incredible guests already on the show this week, and today we will continue that awesome string of wonderful, wonderful guests. And that's going to be with Trevor Roe, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Trevor Roe, who came from Fayetteville, Manlius, the son of Matt Roe, who played over at Syracuse University. Well, Trevor Roe decided to commit and eventually went to Radford University last season, and he redshirted for that Division I program. He decided after this past season that he wanted to jump into the transfer portal. And he's coming home, committing to the LeMoyne College Dolphins men's basketball program with 4 years of eligibility, like he never left. Trevor Roe will be here with us today, and I'll be airing my special with Trevor Roe immediately following his commitment to the LeMoyne College Dolphins. This is an exclusive. It's not anywhere else. He's done no more interviews after making that decision to commit to LeMoyne. This is the only conversation that he has had, and very excited for the opportunity to be able to share this special with you in 10 minutes. We'll be airing that. So Trevor Roe, exclusive Dolphin dive upon his commitment to the LeMoyne College Dolphins. Returning home, the 6'8 forward will be joining Nate Champion's team for year 2 in NCAA Division I. And speaking of NCAA Division I, we'll continue the conversation on the NCAA tournament as we get set to get back into the action tomorrow. The Drive has an awesome intro coming to you that we have not unveiled until this week. For those of you on our social media, you got a peek at it. And for those of you here on YouTube and Facebook, you're going to see it around 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. So very excited to share that with you, and then taking a look around the world of sports outside of the facts of what's going on in the NCAA tournament that we'll talk about in hour 2. We know that tomorrow we are going to see the entire league for Major League Baseball. The entire league will be in action, and we'll be able to see all 30 franchises on Major League Baseball's opening day. Now, technically, the season opened with the MLB Tour in the Seoul Series, but there's going... and then that was, and Murph and I talked about it earlier this week, a weird situation. The MLB 2024 season opened with the MLB Tour in the Seoul Series, And then those teams came back and played spring training games that don't count. But opening day is officially tomorrow, which is the 28th. So they got some games in, but most teams didn't play. And those 30 franchises, all of them are going to play tomorrow. So very excited for that. The NFL owners have approved a massive revamp here. There's been rule changes and different things happening. So the kickoff play, and so opting after 3 days of discussions for a format that originated in the XFL, the proposal passed by a vote of 29-3 for the 32 NFL owners. NFL competition chairman Rich McKay said that the proposal had passed 29-3. It needed approval of 24 of the 32 owners to pass. And then New Orleans Saints special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi said, quote, "We feel this is a great day for the NFL," who, and he allegedly had worked on this proposal, Rizzi did. He said, quote, "We've taken a play that's essentially been dying over the course of the last few years, in our opinion, and we revived it," end quote. So the new alignment rule represents the most significant on-field rule change for the NFL in a long time. It's designed to reverse more than a decade of declining return rates while also lowering concussion rates. The format will move the majority of the kicking and return teams downfield to minimize high-speed collisions. It will go into effect for 1 year only in anticipation of possible tweaking it over time. Now, during the 2024-25 season, kickers will continue to kick from the 35-yard line, but the other 10 players on the kickoff team will line up at the receiving team's 40-yard line. At least 9 members of the return team will line up in a setup zone between the 35 and 30-yard lines. Up to 2 returners can line up in a landing zone between the goal line and the 20-yard line. No one other than the kicker and returner or returners can move until the ball hits the ground or hits a player inside the landing zone. Touchbacks will be marked at the 30-yard line, and no fair catches will be allowed. In the event a team wants to attempt an onside kick, it will have to inform officials of the intent and would then be allowed to use the NFL's traditional formation. No surprise onside kicks can be allowed in this. Now, McKay went on to say, quote, "We're in the business of creating an entertaining product and putting a product on the field that should be competitive in every moment. And we had created a play that was no longer competitive, and our goal was to try to find a way to make that play competitive. And this was, in our opinion, our best option. Yes, it's a big change, but the time has come to make that change," end quote. Now, this proposal follows the structure of the XFL version with a slight shift in where the players are aligned. In the XFL, they lined up farther downfield between the returning team's 30 and 35-yard lines. More than 90% of kickoffs were returned during the XFL's 2 seasons. NFL special teams coaches who participated in designing the NFL version of this format are hoping for a return rate of at least 80% in 2024. Because, we saw so many, it became normal on kickoffs to just see the ball sail into the end zone, right? That became a normalcy in the NFL. They essentially took away the return game in hopes that it would create more safety for players, but it also took away, it was something that I said before to me, is that it was taking away jobs. Because if you're the 4th best cornerback, or if you're the 3rd best running back, or the 4th best wide receiver, or the backup to one of those positions, there was a chance that you could get involved in the running game and show what you got. And then that went away. And to me, that going away was a big effect on, potentially somebody being on a team, someone getting a job in the NFL, which to me was really sad. I'm all about people being safe, and I want them to be safe. And at the same time, I want them to be safe and also not take jobs away. Now, in an effort to reduce concussions on kickoffs, the NFL over the past 15 seasons implemented rule changes designed to reduce returns. It moved the kickoff from the 30-yard line to the 35-yard line, outlawed wedge and double team blocks, and in 2023 created a rule that allowed a fair catch to be spotted at the 25-yard line. Touchback rates dramatically increased over that time, and the return rate fell to a league record 21.7% in 2023. The number of concussions has also dropped, but only in parallel with the decrease in returns. The rate of concussions per kickoff, according to league officials, has remained relatively consistent. So I'm going to read that again. The number of concussions has dropped, but only in parallel with the decrease in returns. So less returns, less concussions, but the rate of concussion per kickoff has been relatively consistent. Commissioner Roger Goodell said, quote, "I think it will be a positive," speaking of the new rule. "I say that with a little bit of hesitation. We still have to tinker with it. We will reevaluate it as the season goes on. I think it will be a big improvement. I think it will bring it back to a relevant play and exciting play," end quote. Now, Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell said, "You felt like it took a significant amount of plays out of the game, and those were from special teams, and you don't make it up really anywhere else, and so we put an emphasis on it, so I believe in it," end quote. Now, owners also approved other rule changes besides the kickoff. They approved a prohibition of the swivel hip drop tackle technique. They have approved allowing teams to receive a third challenge after one successful challenge. Previously, teams had to succeed on 2 challenges to receive a third. This proposal was submitted by the Lions, and it was approved that you can get a third challenge after one successful challenge. So if you use either one of your challenges in one NFL game and you get either one right, you get a third. And then there was, if there's a double foul during a down in which there is a change or changes of possession, including if one of the fouls is a post-possession foul by a team during a scrimmage kick, the team last gaining possession will keep the ball after enforcement for its foul, provided it did not foul before last gaining possession. So if there's a double foul during a down on which there's a change or changes of possession, so let's say there's a double foul, which typically offset, right? So there's a double foul on a 4th down fumble, and the offense recovers that fumble on the double foul, but it doesn't get them a first down. That team will retain possession. So basically, if there's a double foul, they're not losing possession on that because there was a foul on the play, even though both teams fouled. So let's read it again. If there's a double foul during a down in which there is a change or changes of possession, including if one of the fouls is a post-possession foul by a team during a scrimmage kick, the team last gaining possession will keep the ball after enforcement for its foul, provided it did not foul before last gaining possession. So, if you weren't the last to foul, so if you did not foul before last gaining possession, right? So let's say there's 2 penalties, there's 2 holding penalties, but your holding penalty was the first one. So you have possession. Let's say you're the Ravens, right? Okay, so let's say the Ravens have a holding penalty on offense, and let's say the defense has the hitting of a defenseless player, right? So you got the ball on 4th down, you hold, the hit on the defensive player comes after your hold, and you fumbled the ball during this play, but you retain possession, and it's 4th down, you will get possession back because you possessed the ball. You weren't the last team to foul, and so the team gaining possession will keep the ball after enforcement for the foul. I mean, that's an interesting rule because it essentially can create a 5th down, right? In the case for an offense. So that's an interesting placement of the rule. But we're going to be breaking these down. The NFL owners' rules changes got sent over to those of us that are accredited members of the NFL media. And so I got an email approving these rule changes. We're changing kickoff. We're changing challenges. We're, looking at certain tackles. And we're also taking a look at giving opportunities during a double foul. So some interesting stuff going on here with the NFL owners and some changes coming to the NFL and things happening that I anticipated, that when the XFL and the USFL came out, if they provided rule changes like the XFL had done for a couple seasons in their last iteration, and even the iteration before that, when they came out, that I said, these rule changes that they're trying, they're trying them in the XFL, and I think the NFL will look at them, and if the rules make sense, then they could get the NFL to change some rules from doing these things in these other leagues like the XFL. So pretty interesting here to see something like this, and definitely am looking forward to seeing what this is going to look like. Obviously, I'm for the minimizing of concussions, but I also want to maximize the opportunity for athletes to be able to return the ball, because taking out the return game has been pretty pointless. You can essentially, sit on your phone and play Angry Birds while people are doing kickoff returns in a lot of cases. So now hopefully that will change that and bring it back into the game, and special teams can have a bigger place in the grand scheme of things in an NFL game. With that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Trevor Roe, my special with him, the exclusive with Trevor Roe, is coming to you. He has done no other interviews since committing to the LeMoyne College Dolphins men's basketball program. He will join me for the exclusive first conversation that will air ever for Trevor Roe deciding to return to LeMoyne. That exclusive is inside of the Dolphin Dive, and it comes to you only on Wake Up Call right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. And I am here
this morning with Trevor Roe. Trevor Roe, not a stranger to the broadcast by any stretch of the imagination, was with me when he was making his decision on where he was going to play, his announcement to go to Radford, and ultimately he's now coming back home to Central New York and will find himself with the LeMoyne College Dolphins, who just finished up their first year in Division I play. He has 4 years of eligibility, so it's like he never left. Trevor, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. So, I mean, let's get into Radford. I know you were excited about going to Radford and getting that experience. What did you take away from your time out there?
No, I learned a lot about myself, both positive and negative ways. The school they've been great, but sometimes it just doesn't work out, and this place will always hold a special place in my heart. And I met tons of new connections and relationships, a bunch of friends. Coaches were great, but sometimes it just, like I said, doesn't work out the way you imagine it. It's a curveball, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so you find out kind of really early on what it's like to see the business side of things.
Yeah.
How did you experience that, and did you have any advice going into it? I mean, obviously your dad played ball, your sister has had her own career. So was there any conversation amongst the family of like, hey, be prepared for something?
Yeah, definitely. With my sister and my dad, growing up playing basketball, always having them there was always important to me. And they've been through the ups and downs of basketball and life and career, and having them there was a big support. But I don't think, like you said, a business. It's completely different coming from a high school in Syracuse, right outside of Syracuse at FM. It's not a prep school or a JUCO. Like a lot of these kids take their routes, but it's just completely different, and it was a lot of getting used to and understanding what the everyday routine, and you realize how important it is to take care of your body. That's a big thing that I learned when I got here, is how important the things you eat and the rehab you do and all those other things come into effect. But it was mentally, I don't think I understood what was going to happen when I got here. You can tell yourself, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, but it was just completely different, and it took a lot getting used to.
So you had the experience of being in college for a season. You had the experience of being in Division One. Despite it being a redshirt year, what did you learn about, like you said, what to eat, how to rehab, what to do for your body? What are the biggest positive takeaways that you can bring to LeMoyne?
I would think just understanding the daily or weekly basis, or what happens, the events that go on throughout the season. It's a long season. You start practice. You're here in the summer doing workouts. You get here in June. You're here year round with not many breaks. And the season, we start practicing in September, October, and it goes all the way to March. And it's just a long season. There's ups and downs. Goes by quick in the end, but during it, it's just a lot. And there's gonna be great days, there's gonna be bad days, and you have to take them as independent events and move on. Or if you're high, just keep staying up there and succeeding.
So, what ultimately for you led to the decision of, I have 4 years to play, I'm not going to stay here, I'm going to look elsewhere? What eventually got you to that point?
I think just with the stuff that was going on here, there was a lot going on with the coaches, and we had a not a great year here, struggled, finished last. I think everyone was kind of panicking, and I just kind of wanted a fresh start, because redshirting really made me understand what I need to do to succeed. And I think having the red shirt, definitely in the moment when it was first brought up to me, I was a little hesitant, because it's annoying. You work hard, you're ready to play, ready to compete, and they tell you, well, you're not going to play this year. It's really frustrating, but I think getting that year back really made me it's going to help in the end, both on and off the court, getting an extra year of school, depending on where I go, grad program, whatever happens with that. But I think coming home is a lot bigger than basketball. Being where I grew up with all the people, it's really important for me, and really special to come home and play the sport that I love in the place that I love.
When you left Syracuse, New York, there was one Division I team in the community.
Yeah.
Now there's two.
Mhm.
Syracuse University, LeMoyne College, LeMoyne joining the NEC, and like I said, just finishing up their first season in Division One play. Life is interesting.
Mhm.
What can you say to why LeMoyne and just the uniqueness of growing up and they were a D2 school, and now going to LeMoyne allows you the opportunity to stay in Division One where you were at Radford. Just what this entire kind of very unique situation is with leaving when they're D2, coming back home and they're D1.
Yeah. I think it's really crazy because growing up with LeMoyne and Syracuse both in the same city right down the road, I think Syracuse overshadowed LeMoyne. And, you would know people that go there. Not many people would follow along with the basketball or the other sports that they had, smaller school. But now that they're Division One, they've created a lot of attention. They had a really successful year this year. I was at the game over April break when they got their conference tournament win against FDU, and seeing them, it was a packed crowd. It seemed like a great environment to be there. And I think they're creating a lot of attention. They're putting LeMoyne on the map from a global, not even Northeastern Conference, and it's just really, I think it's just crazy. Like you said, a year ago when I left, how crazy things can change just like that. The Division One competing with schools that are well known, like FDU, who beat Purdue last year in the tournament, and it's just really special that I think they're creating this attention that they deserve.
Like you said, in the past, they were overshadowed by Syracuse. Do you feel like that's changing? Do you feel like, I mean, having been in that atmosphere, I was at that game as well as many games this season, but you brought up the, NEC tournament game that the top four teams in the conference get to host at least that first round. And so they had the opportunity to do that and defeated FDU. And obviously that's, national exposure because some of the student athletes from last year's run and beating Purdue as a 16 seed, plus the assistant coach who's now the head coach was on staff for that game as well. So when you experience that atmosphere and you see the team up close, do you get a sense that there's less of a shadow cast by Syracuse over LeMoyne?
I think so, yeah. And LeMoyne's definitely on the rise. They're going to keep rising. They're a great school. And not even just beating FDU, but having, showing people that they can play Division One basketball. They can compete with these teams. It's really important and special for the school to show everybody that, like I said, that they can compete with everybody.
For you, speaking here with Trevor Roe on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on this Dolphin Dive special, transferring from Radford back home to Central New York to play at LeMoyne. What was it about LeMoyne's message? You go into the transfer portal, you obviously have different places around the country that you can look at. Was it always LeMoyne? Was it always I want to come home? Bring me into how LeMoyne happened for you in the transfer portal. Did they reach out to you immediately? Did you reach that way? What happened?
So obviously nowadays in today's world of college basketball, the ultimate escape is the transfer portal. And you see thousands of kids, every second it's like a new kid goes in, and a lot of people find success in the transfer portal, but I think there's also the other side of people not find success. And I think my future, looking at all my options, was in LeMoyne. And growing up, I always kept in mind, like, oh, it'd be cool to come back and play in Syracuse, be really cool. And not many people know this, but my cousin, Nate Fouts, is actually on the LeMoyne team. And I think our families, I guess you could say, like, not family dream, but it would always be cool for us to play. And we tried to work it around high school basketball and never really worked out, and maybe even at the prep school, but I didn't really take that route. But I think it was really cool for that was obviously a big attraction for me to come to LeMoyne, which would be cool. But other than that, they reached out, they said they were interested, and I talked to my family, talked with some other people, made some phone calls, and we made it happen. And I think just the factor of playing in front of the crowd where I'm from just really special. And I always kind of kept that in the back of my head that I'm going to be playing at home, and not many people get the opportunity to play college basketball in the city that they grew up in with the people that always supported them since high school.
You said they reached out and that you kind of felt like it was leaning toward LeMoyne, or that's where your focus was. who reached out to you from the coaching staff? Was it head coach Nate Champion? And if he did, or whoever did, what was the message?
So my dad was talking to Coach Champion for a little bit, and then when I got in the portal and I was good to talk to coaches, he called me and he said that, we're interested. It'd be great to have you home. And I told him that I'd look forward to coming home and playing and putting LeMoyne on the map, like we said earlier, and it'd just be really special. I'm ready to work hard and win some championships.
And you talk about winning championships. As of right now, for the time being, LeMoyne has to be under this NCAA rule that does not allow reclassifying schools to play in the NCAA tournament for 4 seasons. There's 3 seasons left on it. I spoke with the commissioner of the NEC, Noreen Morris, who said they're maybe looking at lowering it from 4 to 3, which would leave LeMoyne with only 2 more years to have to wait. But does any of that weigh into it, that the NCAA tournament may or may not happen, or if it does happen, it would be your last season there?
Yeah, I don't think obviously it's something you're going to think about, and it sucks. It's a rule, and hopefully it gets changed, but that doesn't go against the fact that we're going to win. We're going to work hard. We can't think, if we win or whatever the outcome is, we're not going to be able to get to the tournament. But I think the main focus and goal is to work hard every day and showing games and win games and show people that we belong in the NCAA tournament if it comes to that. And it just be it's unfortunate, for teams. That's how FDU got in last year from the NEC, because Merrimack won the conference tournament but wasn't eligible due to the reclassifying rule. But like I said, it just work hard every day and don't really take it day by day and just win.
And we know, that there's other tournaments out there besides the NCAA tournament. We know that the men's basketball team in their first year in Division I was asked to play in a postseason tournament. It just didn't work out scheduling-wise, but they were asked to do that. Does that weigh into it for you that, hey, if this NCAA rule doesn't get changed and you have to wait until your last season at LeMoyne, but there's other tournaments to play in, is that something that matters to you, that there are national tournament avenues for LeMoyne?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're any college basketball team playing in mid-March or late March, that's a testimony to how good and how hard you guys work. And obviously everyone looks at the NCAA, the March Madness, but I think there's other tournaments that are just important, like the NIT, the CBI, and those are important tournaments too. You can win a championship, get some recognition, get some attention, show everybody all the hard work that you guys put in the whole year. And yeah.
We look at the NEC, and we've seen the success that's come through the NEC. Wagner hasn't been in the tournament since 2003. They come in this year and they get a win in the first 4, and they're only playing 7 guys. Yeah. We saw what they did to come through as the 6th seed in the NEC and beat the 3, the 2, and the 1. And then last year with FDU and everything they did as only the 2nd 16 seed ever in the history of the NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament. To know that you're coming into a conference that has such incredible history and that it's recent within the last 2 years, what does that say to you about the excitement around the conference of the NEC, not just LeMoyne, but the conference as a whole?
Yeah, it shows how successful the conference is. And I think winning a Division I basketball game is really difficult. And to see these teams with the national, spotlight and stage and resume of beating teams and winning games, it's a really competitive conference, and every day will be a battle. Every game will be a battle, and I'm really looking forward to competing. I'm a really competitive person. I hate losing, and yeah.
You're a 6'8" forward that's coming home. What can you tell us about your game? I know you were at FM, obviously, in high school at Fayetteville Manlius, not too far away from LeMoyne, like a few minutes away. So now that you're coming back home, what are you bringing to the table? What is LeMoyne going to have in Trevor Roe?
I think I'm bringing someone who's going to work hard, and like I said before, someone who hates losing, not just hate losing. That's really all it is. I went to the LeMoyne game, like I said, and I love the way they played. They move the ball well. They pass cut. They play really good attention to detail when they play. And I think once I entered the transfer portal, I kind of put myself and pictured myself playing on the team. I just thought it was the best fit. But I think LeMoyne's getting a hard worker and someone who's gonna to do whatever it takes to win a basketball game.
What do you like about Nate Champion? He's going to be your head coach for the next 4 seasons. So, what is your excitement about when it comes to Nate Champion?
Mhm. I think he's a hard worker. Just talking on the phone, he seemed like a great guy, great coach. He seems like a player's coach, and I think in this era of college basketball, that's where teams thrive when you feel comfortable around your coach and you trust them with your life. Basketball at that level is your life, and having somebody like that to teach you and show you the ups and downs of basketball and just be there every day for you, whether it's on or off the basketball court. Um, he seems like a winner too, which is most importantly. His first year in Division One basketball, there's probably a lot of pressure there, and to see and for him to show everybody that he can compete with these teams in the NEC and the non-conference schedule as well really shows that he's really dedicated to this game, and he's a winner. And I'm really looking forward to playing for him.
And we've seen that, this past season, their first season in Division One, LeMoyne Dolphins men's basketball got their first win when they were on the West Coast and
Mhm.
had a bunch of games in California, 4 games in California. They started the season at Georgetown, at Villanova. They faced off against Army West Point. Just what your excitement is about some of these games that are to come and just what the non-conference looks like, because from what we are told, and in my exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with LeMoyne, they've said, hey, if you liked last season, you're going to like the games this season.
Yeah, that's all exciting stuff. Traveling around the country to play basketball is something that not many people get to say they did. And teams like, the Georgetowns and the Villanovas, that's really important stuff that you never really forget. And going out to the West Coast, it's really cool, different lifestyle out there playing these games. It creates attention to the school and the program, and there's nothing more exciting is a mid major, lower major playing some of these big name schools that are known around the world, and it's really exciting. And like what you said, now I'm excited to see what the next year has to offer.
Yeah, and you talked about Nate Faust being your cousin, family on the team. Now that you finally have this familiar opportunity to play on the court together, are we going to see like this osmosis, this kind of like mind reading, no look, I know he's going to be there? What can you tell us about that?
I'm really looking forward to playing with him. Every family gathering, we're always him, myself, my sister, always outside playing in the driveway. And there's always been, not a competition, but we've been really competitive people. The one-on-ones, seeing who could dunk first, seeing who could do this and that. And I think him committing to LeMoyne and when I committed to Radford, it seemed almost pretty much impossible for us to cross paths. But now that this is happening, and it's a really great opportunity for our family, and we're really excited, and our family group chat's been excited all week, and this is really special for us. But yeah.
Yeah, and when we look at this team itself too, I mean, the success that's happened most recently, Kai Cleary broke a 70-year record of most points in a game, getting 43 to beat the record that was set so many years back by Dick Kenyon and then tied by Phil Harlow. What are your thoughts on those moments? I mean, the fact that there's this history being made, and I mean, now are you setting your sights on 44 points when you come in?
I know that'd be great, but at the end of the day, it's about wins and losses, and records are great, but that'd be cool. But yeah, winning comes first, and I think LeMoyne has a great reputation for really smart school. They just created history, becoming a Division One school last year, and I think they have everything going for them right now. And I'm really excited to get there and keep this train going of success.
Trevor, before we jump into rapid fire here for a second, I got to throw this at you. I mean, being in year 3 of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with LeMoyne, with my company, Dan Tortora Broadcast Media and Wake Up Call, I have that. I was always going to cover you. I had a connection to Radford before you and I even crossed paths because I was down in the first 4 when Syracuse and St. Bonnie's was there.
So you
Yeah,
and I were always going to keep in touch, and we have. And
definitely.
LeMoyne and I obviously have a relationship that is very, very much kind of all the time going on. Did
Yeah.
you ever think about this? I mean, selfishly, I have to ask, like, what are your thoughts about the fact that you and I get to hang out a heck of a lot more now?
It's awesome. I didn't even know. I remember you talked about the how you're down here for the first four, but I'm happy to be back, and we'll be spending time together. So it's great. I know you're always around the covering all the sports, and I'll see you a bunch throughout the games, whether it's um, basketball or just around campus or stuff like that. So it's exciting.
So let's jump into rapid fire. You're going to get three. I'm going to get three. You can ask me anything in the world, basketball related or anything life related. Me as
Mhm.
well. You get three. I get three. You get to ask me first. What do you got?
All right, we'll start off with the hot topic of the month. Who do you have for March Madness?
I have the teams that I thought were the two best teams going in, UConn and Houston,
Mhm.
playing for the championship. But in my heart, I would love for Gonzaga to
Yeah.
to get there.
Mhm.
I mean, it's insane what they've done. Nine straight Sweet 16s.
Mhm.
Mark Few is just a machine of success. It doesn't matter where they're seated. It doesn't matter if they're ranked. It doesn't matter if they've had adversity during the season. They're an
Mhm.
extremely amazing team to cover. I've been watching them and paying attention to them since I was in high school.
Yeah.
So, Syracuse is my home, and people that know me very well know that I bleed Zags as long as they're not playing LeMoyne, and
Yeah.
they are a fellow Jesuit institution. So I've said before that I think LeMoyne should play Gonzaga.
That'd be awesome. Pretty far away, but that'd be a fun trip. So yeah.
So let me throw this one at you here. For you to be a dolphin now, how would you describe a dolphin to a child that doesn't know anything about dolphins? How would you describe it?
Hmm. I'd say it's a shark like a friendly shark. I think I'd just say that. A friendly shark that's not gonna rip you to pieces and people always go and see them. They're cool. It's rare if you see one at the ocean. And that's really all I got is a friendly shark. So
They also have the most developed brain in connection to humanity that it's
really,
almost as it's like right there, their ability to be extremely intelligent. So to have one of the most intelligent, if not the most intelligent connection
yeah.
to the animal world, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That is
What's your
cool. I didn't even know that, but that's pretty cool. It's neat.
yeah, what's your second one for
All
me?
right, next one up. While we're on the topic of Lemoyne, I'll say, what's your favorite part about Lemoyne?
The people. I mean, it's got to be the people. It's the and it starts with President Dr. Linda Lemira and just her just wonderful nature. I mean, she will be in a room with 5 people, 20 people, 200 people,
Mhm.
and she'll come over and give me a huge hug, personalize our relationship always, look me in the eye, ask me how I'm doing, remember things about my life.
Yeah,
And she's just a sweetheart.
yeah,
And, Bob Beretta, the athletics director, I if somebody ever said to me like I need a right hand person and I need you to be my guy and I need somebody who can like go and attack the world with me in a positive way, like I would go with Bob without even probably putting too much thought into it.
yeah,
So I'd have to say Linda and Bob are incredible. The coaches are wonderful, and the student athletes, there's just good people
yeah.
at
Family.
LeMoyne. There's really good people, and Nate from the beginning, from when he got the job, I mean, I shook his hand and I told him like, I care about you,
Yeah,
and I feel that he's seen that and he knows that, and I know that he works really hard and really diligently with everything. So, I would say LeMoyne has literally made me feel like home. They've made me feel
yeah,
like I went there. They've just brought me into the Finn family, and I take it personally whenever something has to do with LeMoyne. Like I take that stuff personally, and when we're winning together. When we're losing, we're arm in arm, lifting each other up. So
yeah. That's what it's all about.
I just feel like LeMoyne is a community that I am so grateful that they let me swim in their waters, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
My second one for you, Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
In the last year, what has been one piece of advice that your parents gave you that you sat back and said, I should have listened to them?
One piece of advice.
Yeah.
I'd have to go with probably the thing they always told me growing up, and they said it would help me later on in life without having to be keeping your room clean. Because
Okay.
one thing you leave one piece of clothes or piece of garbage on the floor and you think it'll be fine, and then you come back a few days later and your whole room's a mess. So just keeping that clean, I
Yeah.
think, having a clean lifestyle around you helps you keep a clean mental health. And if you have clutter, I learned this year, big thing that I learned was that if you have clutter around you, it starts to build up inside you. You got messy car, messy room, messy locker. That stuff really starts to build up, and if those things aren't taken care of, it should be the least of your worries, and that really affects you. So yeah.
That's some great advice from Mom and Dad Roe. If you have clutter around you, you will have a clutter inside of you. That's
Exactly.
very true. That's
No
amazing.
doubt. Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna have to eat dinner with them more often, talk to them, get some advice. So,
Yeah, I didn't really think it would really affect me that much, or I'd really think about it that much, but they were right. So
what's your last one for me, Trevor?
last question. Uh, trying to think outside of the basketball world for a second, but it's really all I've been thinking of lately. So, um, I'll go with outside of basketball. Of course, I'm back in sports. Outside of basketball, what is your favorite sport to cover for LeMoyne?
For LeMoyne, you know, I don't feel like, and I'm not saying this politically,
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I can choose one because
Yeah.
when you get to like I said, when it comes to again the people at LeMoyne,
Mm-hmm.
when you get to know the coaches and the student athletes, when I'm around swimming and diving, I want to jump in the pool. When I'm around soccer, I want to kick the ball. When I'm around lacrosse, I want to like grab the stick, make a play, spin around, and do something crazy. When
Yeah.
I'm around volleyball, I want to spike that thing over the net. Like, when you're around track and field, it makes you want to work out, do your cardio. When you're around tennis, like Jeff Lonzak is just an awesome personality.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and cross country too, and I mean, softball, Tracy Roman is just she's such a caring person and she never lets you go unnoticed and
Mhm.
she works her tail off. And Scott Cassidy with baseball, man, like he's got that fire. So
Yeah.
I mean, I feel genuinely spoiled all the time to be around the coaches that I'm around and the team. So I don't think I could pick one because
Yeah. That's a good answer.
yeah. I feel like they've all made me fall in love with what they do. Like
Yeah.
they've all individually found a way to make me fall in love with what they do by just being genuine.
Yeah. No doubt. It's a good answer.
Thank you. My last one for you is when you come home,
Mm-hmm.
since now we get to do some stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come home, if we're spending a day in central New York, you grew up here, I grew up here, I want you to decide for the day. Like you and I are going to spend 24 hours, no sleep. We're
Yeah.
just going to stay up all day. What are we doing? Paint me a picture of the day. DT, Trevor, what are we doing?
All right. So first off, probably wake up, and I think the no-brainer is get some food at Brugger's. Start your day right.
Okay.
That was the spot back in Manlius. I know there's one back in Erie Boulevard, and then one of my favorite things to do, both relaxing, are I'd say we'll go fishing first. There's a lot of good places to fish. You got Cass Lake, you got rivers, you got a lot of water over there, and then lunch. Lunch, I think you got to go either Stinger's Pizza Pub in Manlius. That's one of my favorites. Nothing's like some stinger wings. And
Okay.
then probably, or a good alternative would be Tully's. Can't go wrong with that. And then one of my favorite things to do when I have nothing else to do, if I'm not working out or hanging out with friends, is golfing. I'm a big
Okay.
golfer. A bunch of courses. Can't go wrong. It's good, relaxing. Frustrating at times, but it's fun in the long run. It's hard to hit a ball that's not moving, but
Yeah.
when I think to top it all off, eating more food. It's been a while. Think, I'm not sure. It's really about it. But I'd say to finish it off, you got to go to dinner at one of my personal favorites as well, Five Guys, right there on Erie Boulevard. I'll be
Okay.
taking definitely good use of that, and I'll take advantage of it next year. So yeah, that's about it. So pretty much just golf, fish, and eating.
Yeah. Golf, fish, and eating. Sounds like a pretty awesome day. Looking
Thanks,
forward to
Kyle.
the opportunity of you coming back and looking forward to the fact that you and I have plenty of time to spend. And in my coverage of you from afar, now, like I said, selfishly, I don't have to go that far. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
definitely looking forward to it, Trevor. I mean,
Love both of those.
you've been awesome and your family's been awesome. Obviously I got to know your dad before getting to know you, and it's just been a great experience with the Roe family. So I'm happy that you're coming home. I'm looking forward to telling the story.
Mhm.
And you're a good kid, you work hard, and I think that LeMoyne's getting a steal right now. So
Thank you.
it's a good day for Central New York, and it's a great day to be a Dolphin for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to getting back home. Like I said, big believer in everything happens for a reason and coming home to not only play with my cousin and his family, but like you said, a family as a whole at LeMoyne. And I'm really looking forward to it.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate you being with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern
time, and definitely want to thank everybody that's not only with us in the morning, but those that listen back to the show, those that go and find the show on all of our many outlets and channels. I appreciate that so very much, on Amazon Music and Audible, as well as iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, as well as Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. So however you connect with us, thank you so much for being with us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. It means more to me than I can say. And, you know, I love being able to share the stories with our incredible guests like you had this morning with Trevor Roe, and to be able to do that here all throughout the year and for many, many years. I thank you so much for your support and just being there, you know, and supporting these wonderful people in our community that build us up and help us to become an even better community every single day. So many thanks to all of you for the support of those that are on the show, be it someone who's a special guest, someone who is a business owner, the awesome businesses that we work with, all of the ways that you connect with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and supporting the companies that we partner with, and supporting the student athletes and the coaches and administration and just people in general, not only in this community, but all around the world. I thank you for that. And I feel incredibly grateful every single day that God wakes me up and that I have the opportunity to do what I love. It means a lot to me, you know, and it's not something that you can take for granted, and it's not something that I ever look to take for granted. So thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. With that being said, we're going to get into the NCAA tournament. A couple minutes early here. We might as well jump right into it now because I impatiently want to play this. That being the drive intro, the drive here that we bring you going through the NCAA tournament. The drive proudly presented by the wonderful team at Great Lakes Honda City. You can get out to Great Lakes Honda City on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool today. So make sure you get out there and find your next ride. They have new, they have used, they have those that you can buy, and they have those that you can lease. And it's all on site at Great Lakes Honda City, which you can find on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. It's actually just a few minutes away from Ma and Pa's, so you can go look at a vehicle today and go to Ma and Pa's within just a couple minutes' time of each other. And Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, so make sure you head over there as well. A lot of great stuff coming up here where sports meets life, and very much appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and to have some time to talk about so many different things, including the NCAA tournament. You know that I'm a huge, huge NCAA tournament fan. The NCAA tournament every single year, to me, I look forward to. It's probably my most favorite sporting event on the planet. That's probably a fair assessment to make, because of the fact that I just genuinely, I sit and I watch the games, and I take it all, you know, in from like the beginning of the day all the way through. I absolutely love it. I this year recorded the games, and had the opportunity to go back, and I can go watch any of the games again. I can go watch all the games again. And it was funny because I was like, well, what am I going to do from Monday to Wednesday before the games come back on Thursday? And then today's already Wednesday. So, you know, I definitely know how to keep myself busy. That's for sure. And I'll sit here and think and be like, oh man, you know, I gotta go back and watch the games. I'm going to miss being able to sit down and see them. So I'm going to have to replay some of these games. And I didn't have to replay a single game. I have been definitely keeping myself busy. I also have been watching a new show that I think is, well, I don't know how new the show, well, I think it's a new show, but I've been watching it on Netflix, The 3 Body Problem. That is a good show. So if you are looking for a show, I suggest that you watch The 3 Body Problem. Pretty cool, pretty awesome. Definitely suggest you tuning in for that. So, and I have no connection to the show. I just really like the show, and I figured I'd tell you to watch it. So when you get a chance, go ahead and pop that on. So Now, Kentucky AD, I want to get into some of the stuff here with the NCAA tournament in what we call The Drive. The Drive, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. And getting into this tournament talk, one of the teams that's out of the tournament is Kentucky. Kentucky losing to Oakland in the first round. But Kentucky's men's basketball head coach John Calipari will return for his 16th season in 2024-25. So that is going to happen. And so looking at the statement here from Mitch Barnhart, said, quote, "As we normally do at the end of every season, Coach Calipari and I have had conversations about the direction of our men's basketball program, and I can confirm that he will return for his 16th season as our head coach," end quote. So John Calipari is, in fact, coming back to coach another season, at least one more season, with the Kentucky Wildcats. So, it's a good thing to see him coming back. Obviously, life has changed. What Kentucky maybe could do in the past is now available to everybody, if you can read what I'm speaking on, potentially, allegedly. So, quote, "I talked again about the standard that I believe in, that I think we can do," John Calipari said. "But that standard of national titles has been here from Coach Adolph Rupp on, and the only thing I'm saying to all of our fans is, I'm going to work in our state, work on this program, this university. That's my commitment. I'm not changing. 24/7, let's go. Whether it's recruiting, all the stuff that we have to do," end quote. So John Calipari has one national title, which was in 2012. His most recent Final Four appearance was in 2015, and we have seen the team not have a great showing, though, in recent history, including their 80-76 loss to the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. Now, if they were to have let John Calipari go, they would have owed him $33 million in a buyout if the school elected to fire him now. So he would have been owed that if the school elected to fire him. And so he will have this opportunity in 2024-25 to see where he can go. And we'll see. Now, John Calipari's been faced for relying too heavily on youth when most teams are going through the transfer portal. But he said Monday on his radio show he will continue to recruit freshman talent and balance his team with veterans from the portal. Quote, "This is like wearing a coat. It never goes away, but I love it. This is what I want. This is what I wanted. This is why I never left. This is it. And now it's let's come together and let's do something. Let's do something special. We've done it. Let's do it again," end quote. So John Calipari going to be staying the Kentucky Wildcats head coach coming up for this season. So some good stuff coming up here for the future, hopefully, potentially, of the Kentucky Wildcats, for those Kentucky Wildcat fans that are out there. Now, the coaching carousel around college basketball has been pretty interesting in the fact that coaches literally go out of the tournament and then end up on another team. Some within a very small period of time. So I want to take a look at the coaching changes that we had here. So we're looking at some things that are happening here. DePaul, Tony Stubblefield, who I interviewed at the beginning of the season, he was let go on January 22nd. It's the worst performing program in a high major conference in this century. So Chris Holtman is in, and so he has an opportunity to see what he can do. Kenny Payne, who is an alum of Louisville, he was let go after 2 seasons. He went 12-52 in the worst back-to-back seasons in program history. Michigan let go of Juwan Howard, who is a Michigan alum, and they brought in Dusty May, who I've spent the last couple years with his time at FAU. Ohio State Chris Holtmann was there, and Jake Diebler came in. So Jake Diebler had time as the interim coach after Holtmann was fired on Valentine's Day, and then interim tag has been removed for the 37-year-old. He is a Valparaiso graduate, speaking of Diebler, and he worked at Ohio State since 2019. He helped the Buckeyes to a 6-2 record, featuring victories over Purdue and Nebraska, while also showing that he should have the job without any prior head coaching experience. So congratulations to him on that. So interesting here. Chris Holtmann was let go from Ohio State on Valentine's Day and then hired at DePaul. So DePaul hired a fired coach, and then Rob Lanier is gone from SMU. They're going to be moving to the ACC. They just spent their last season in the American Athletic Conference, and now he's no longer a coach. I also spoke with him. Oklahoma State, Mike Boynton Jr. is out of Oklahoma State. 7 seasons, 1 NCAA tournament. He's been let go. Stanford got rid of Jared Haas and brought in Kyle Smith. Kyle Smith from Washington State is now the new head coach there. So we'll see what happens here as we move forward. And Stanford is going to be moving into the ACC as well. So taking a look at this, Smith has won in Columbia, San Francisco, and Washington State. And so we'll see what happens here with Kyle Smith at Stanford, who is now an ACC coach. Vanderbilt let go of Jerry Stackhouse after a 9-23 season and 5 years on the job. Mark Byington is going over to Vanderbilt. So he comes from James Madison. These are the moments that, you kind of look at this and say, I mean, this is pretty crazy and it's pretty quick. And I feel like people that are like, oh, there's no way that these coaches are talking to anybody. There's no way that anybody's reaching out to anyone when they're not allowed to. I think that that's just ridiculous to think. And maybe it is and maybe it's not. But Mark Byington literally lost with JMU and then was the coach of Vanderbilt. And this one was so quick. Washington lets go of Mike Hopkins, who is an alum of Syracuse and spent so many years with the Orange. Mike Hopkins being let go and Danny Sprinkle coming in. Danny Sprinkle was just with Utah State. Literally lost in the tournament with Utah State, and I think it was less than 24 hours later, Danny Sprinkle was named the head coach of the Washington Huskies, who are heading into the Big Ten. West Virginia, Josh Earlett is out. So Bob Huggins stepped down before the season. Then the interim coach was Josh Earlett, and now Darian DeVries is now going to become the head coach. So Darian taking over here, and we'll see what happens. He's made 3 NCAA tournaments in 6 seasons at Drake, and he won 20-plus games every year. So we'll see what happens here. And then at Bryant, Jared Grasso's out. Phil Martelli Jr. is in. And so we'll see he won the full-time job near the beginning of the season. So his big win came in November at FAU. Cal Poly changed John Smith to Mike DeGeorge. Canisius, Reggie Witherspoon was let go. We don't have someone hired there yet. Central Arkansas got rid of Anthony Boone, brought in John Schulman. Charleston Southern let go of Barclay Raidbaugh and brought in Sa Nimley. Coastal Carolina let Cliff Ellis go and brought in Justin Gray. So we shall see here. Cliff Ellis is gone. Justin Gray is in. So interesting to see what's going on here. When Bob Huggins resigned, Ellis became the winningest active coach in the game. Then he opted to retire in December. So now Justin Gray will be taking over. Cornell let go of Brian Earl here in upstate New York. Brian Earl no longer the coach there. And so they have an opening. So Brian Earl took the William and Mary job following 8 seasons in Ithaca, New York. So I shouldn't say that they let him go. He took the job at William and Mary, so my apologies on that. So we'll see what happens at Cornell. Mike Davis is out in Detroit. Darian DeVries is obviously out in Drake. Keith Dambra is out at Duquesne, but he was at the beginning, he said he was retiring before the tournament even got rocking and rolling here. Fairfield, Jay Young is out. Chris Casey is in. So Chris Casey became the interim coach and now is the official head coach. Florida A&M, Robert McCullum is gone. FAU is looking for a replacement for Dusty May. Fresno State out is Justin Hudson. Gardner Webb let go. Tim Kraft is out. Hampton, Buck Joyner gone. Ivan Thomas is in. Houston Christian, Ron Cottrell is out. Craig Doty is in. IUPUI, no more Matt Crenshaw. Hello to Paul Corsaro. James Madison after Mark Byington's looking for somebody. Long Beach State after Dan Monson was told before the team played. I mean, he was told he was going to be let go. Then his team won the conference tournament, got an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. Very weird situation. Dan Monson had said he's not done, so we'll see where he ends up. But Long Beach State is looking for a head coach now. And then Loyola, Maryland, Tavares Hardy's no longer there. Marshall, Dan D'Antoni is out. Cornelius Jackson's in. Mercer. There's so many jobs. Oh my, I'm just like running down the line here. Utah State hasn't replaced Danny Sprinkle. Austin Clouch took over for Steve Henson at UTSA. That was a quick move too. Washington State hasn't found a replacement yet for Kyle Smith. Just Southern Illinois, who had some runs in the past. Brian Mullins, not there. So, Siena, Carm Massarello. So, I'm looking at this Italian name saying I should be able to say this morning. So, Massarello at Siena, he is out. They fired him following a 4-28 season that resulted in the team finishing 357th out of 362 teams in the Ken Pom rankings. So we shall see. Siena looking for a head coach, and we'll see who that head coach ends up being. Right? So a lot of changes here as we take a look in the driving through the NCAA tournament, but in the background of the tournament as we get set for the games to come back, looking at the fact that there's been so many coaching changes in NCAA college basketball Division I already. And these changes coming, like I said, of people in the tournament. Danny Sprinkle was in the tournament. I mean, you know what I mean? Dusty May's in with FAU. Then shortly after, FAU gets bumped out of the tournament. He goes to Michigan. Danny Sprinkle's with Utah State, gets bumped out. Now he's at Washington. You know, these very quick Kyle Smith moving around. You know, these very quick moves that have happened, and some of them feeling like they happened within hours of the coach being with one team in the tournament and then being with another team now moving forward already into next season. So, I mean, they work fast, and that's the thing. That's one of the arguments of the transfer portal that student athletes can have a gripe about, is when people say, well, student athletes don't have to be committed to anybody and they don't have to be loyal to anybody and they could just do what they want and they can make it, you know, all about them. And it's like, well, I mean, look at what these coaches did. Think about that. You're in the tournament, you lose in the tournament, you and your coach are sitting in the locker room, you're hurting from the fact that you just got bumped out from the opportunity of winning a national championship, and then less than 24 hours later, your coach tells you, or the university tells you, or the bottom line ticker tells you that your coach is no longer there. Think about the emotions of, we lost on a Sunday and my coach was gone less than 24 hours later on Monday. I mean, that's a lot. And that's the gripe that you can have when it comes to the transfer portal and people saying, well, why can student athletes do this, that, and the third? And it's like, well, coaches have been doing it forever. And I felt like this year they did it even faster with these coaches making decisions to go to another program. moments after being out of the NCAA tournament. So the way the tournament shakes out from here is we have our Sweet 16 that I had mentioned to you here yesterday on the broadcast. But I want to go into these matchups. UConn and San Diego State. UConn just looks like that well-oiled machine. They look like that team that's, has the opportunity to repeat. It is extremely difficult to repeat ever in the NCAA tournament. We've seen some teams do it. Some teams find a way. But in the world of UConn, they just look really, really put together. And, I mean, Dan Hurley has been a tremendous asset to UConn. After Jim Calhoun, UConn had some moments of grace, some moments where things were going well, but ultimately, you were kind of just waiting for them to return to that prominence. And UConn, the number 1 overall seed in the Sweet 16, with an opportunity to cut down the nets again. On the other side of them, though, is San Diego State, who last year didn't just make their first ever Elite Eight and make their first ever Final Four, but San Diego State was the first ever Mountain West Conference representative in the Elite Eight and in the Final Four. The Mountain West had never sent anyone to the Elite Eight from their conference, never sent anyone from the Final Four to the Final Four from their conference. So San Diego State made Mountain West history and San Diego State history last season. Now they're one step away from the Elite Eight again. And looking back on their season and seeing who they beat that was in the tournament this year, they beat Long Beach State, who made the tournament. They beat St. Mary's, who made the tournament in non-conference play. And, they defeated San Diego State, defeated Gonzaga on the road 84-74 when Gonzaga was ranked 13th in the nation. That's a big-time win right there. And then outside of that, San Diego State beat Utah State, who made the tournament. They beat them at home 81-67. And that was the only ranked team that they played in their entire conference. Hence why I scratched my head about the Mountain West getting 6 teams in when you're looking at the conference, saying to yourself, like, some of those teams in the conference didn't play a tough non-conference schedule. I mean, I credit San Diego State for challenging themselves and playing against teams that ended up making the tournament. But Utah State was the only ranked team in their conference, and they beat them twice. So, they're saying something there. Pardon me, they beat them 2 out of 3 times. They lost to Utah State on the road 68-63, and then they beat them in the tournament 86-70. They beat Utah State in the tournament, speaking of San Diego State. And then they would eventually lose to New Mexico. The New Mexico Lobos, 68-61, San Diego State lost to them, which is why New Mexico got in the tournament. But if New Mexico, they were saying 6 teams anyways, so were they looking at putting New Mexico in no matter what New Mexico did over a Pittsburgh, over a St. John's, over even Butler? It's or Wake Forest, a little bit of a head scratcher there, but they did win their conference tournament, and you can get in. When you do that, you get an automatic bid. So, fair is fair in that respect. San Diego State, to me, the level of competition, hopefully this is going to be a fun game. Hopefully it's going to be a good game. Hopefully there's going to be, something to write home about over here with this, because we know that the, San Diego State Aztecs, like I said, had such an awesome run last year, but can they continue that run? Can they continue to have that success as they step forward into this potential buzzsaw with UConn? Is going to be a really interesting game, but really cool to see that San Diego State back-to-back years made a Sweet 16, and then UConn just seeing the dominance they've had. Houston, that's going to be on the East bracket. Also in the East bracket, we're going to see Illinois and Iowa State. These are 2 teams I called for to be in this game. And Illinois and Iowa State, Illinois has had themselves a season. They've really had themselves a tremendous season, and I want to give them credit for that. Illinois was good years and years and years ago. They had a number 1 seed, and this year they got a 3 seed, the Fighting Illini did. And when we take a look back at Illinois and look at their non-conference schedule, they beat Oakland, who made the tournament, and beat Kentucky. They lost to Marquette when Marquette was ranked 4th in the country, and they lost to Marquette at home in Illinois. And they beat FAU, who made the tournament. They lost to Tennessee, who made the tournament on the road 86-79. They beat Colgate, who made the tournament 74-57, speaking of Illinois. And, they beat a Fairleigh Dickinson team that was returning some some of the student athletes from last year and the assistant coach from last year that's now the head coach. They beat them 104-71. Illinois this year did lose on the road at Purdue, and Purdue was ranked number 1 in the country, 83-76. And, again, we take a look at the Big Ten and say, okay, if the Big Ten's so good, look, the only team that Illinois played in the Big Ten that was ranked at the time of play was Purdue. The only team that was ranked the whole time in the Big Ten. So they put all these teams, they raise all these teams up in the Big Ten, but you look at it and say, everyone but Purdue was ranked. And sometimes you get unfair rankings, but these teams weren't even ranked. Sometimes you're like, okay, well, they're ranked high in the Big Ten, but then you're like, okay, well, what did they do? Is it just because they're in the Big Ten, or is it because they actually beat somebody? They weren't even ranked. So this whole Big Ten is so powerful has been disproven multiple years in a row, but apparently the committee isn't listening or watching any of the games. But Illinois, I do want to give credit Illinois coming out of this, to give respect where respect is due. I mean, the Big Ten doesn't look that strong, but Illinois has had themselves a good season, and the Fighting Illini will have an opportunity to go up against Iowa State of the Big 12 and see what they could do. Iowa State's an interesting team, and we'll get to that in a second, but most recently here for Illinois, who beat Duquesne 89-63. When we go back and we look at the numbers here, they had 4 out of their 5 starting 5 score in double figures, and guess who one of their starting 5 is? Quincy Guerrier. Quincy Guerrier, who played for Syracuse out of Montreal up in Canada. Quincy Guerrier, who played for Syracuse and then went on to Oregon and is now with the Illinois Fighting Illini wearing number 13. Guerrier is one of the starters for Iowa State. So if you're a Syracuse fan who misses Quincy Guerrier, you can see Quincy Guerrier and you can watch him for this Illinois game as they go up against Iowa State, as he is in orange and blue, but not the orange and blue that he originally started in at Syracuse. On the other side of it, in the Big 12, we look at the Cyclones of Iowa State. And the Iowa State Cyclones in the Big 12, this is a team that won the Big 12 tournament. They beat Houston 69-41 in the Big 12 tournament. Big ups to them for that. They beat a ranked Baylor 76-62. Then they beat the number 1 in the nation ranked Houston 69-41, and probably in that win kept Houston from becoming the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. So, Iowa State doing some good things there and beating a BYU team who was ranked 20th in the country this season, 68-63 earlier in the season. They lost to Houston on the road, 73-65 when Houston was ranked. They lost to Baylor when Baylor was ranked on the road before beating them in the Big 12 tournament. They beat Kansas when Kansas was 7th in the nation, 79-75. I think we can agree that Kansas was ranked too high this season. They won on the road at TCU when TCU was ranked in the top 20, 73-72. They lost at BYU, 87-72 on the road. They beat Houston the first time they played them this season when Houston was 2 in the country, 57-53. They lost at Oklahoma, 71-63 when Oklahoma was ranked number 11 in the nation. And then out of conference, they played Texas A&M and lost to them at home when Texas A&M was ranked. They defeated Grambling State, who made the tournament. They lost to Virginia Tech, who did not make the tournament. So, inside of the Big 12, good. Outside of the Big 12, not so much. This is going to be a really good matchup. I could see the Illini moving on in this one. I think whoever moves on is going to end up playing UConn in this, and that's what I have in my bracket. So, I think that this game is definitely going to, this could be potentially a close game, could be an overtime game, the I versus the I. And so Illinois and Iowa State, there's no I in team, but there is an I in both of these teams' names that are in the Sweet 16 in the East. I'm going to lean on, this is tough. This is really tough, actually, because, to me, I think I had Iowa State. So I'll grab my bracket when we take a fast break, but this game could go either way. I honestly think this is like that teeter-totter game. In the South bracket, taking a look at Houston. Houston has got an interesting matchup here. They just barely defeated Texas A&M, who they were up on, and they were leading, and they were winning, and things were good, and all was going well, and then, you know, they go up. They fall down in that game, and they end up going into overtime against Texas A&M and the Aggies, and they get out of it. You know, UConn and Houston, the top two number one seeds, UConn first, then Houston. UConn blew by their last matchup. They beat Northwestern 75-58. Houston scored 100 and beat Texas A&M 100-95. So two different tests that they've had, and we'll see how they respond to both of those tests. And, you know, obviously they've had time to break. You know, they played on Sunday, and then you don't play again until later on in the week. And they're going to play Friday. Houston will play on Friday. UConn will play tomorrow. UConn will play March 28th at 7:39 p.m. Eastern Time, these weird times. And then Illinois and Iowa State will play tomorrow at 10:09 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the East bracket. In the South bracket, Houston-Duke will be Friday at 9:39 p.m. Eastern Time, Friday the 29th. And NC State-Marquette will be the first game at 7:09 p.m. Eastern Time this Friday. So, you know, Houston going up against Duke, this is going to be a really, really fun game. I mean, I still think, you know, last year I thought Houston was one of the best teams in the nation. I thought they were the best team in the nation. I picked them to win the national championship. This year, I really think they could win the national championship, and I have them playing in my national title game up against UConn. Duke, you know, could they play spoiler? I think Houston's going to be too much for them, but I also never count Duke out, so I think this is going to be a good game. You know, John Shire's in his second season with the Duke Blue Devils, and John Shire has done an absolute tremendous job after playing for the Duke Blue Devils and then coaching under Coach K. And now John Shire, in 2 seasons, he's gone 27-9 and currently 26-8 so far. So, I mean, you look at that and say he hasn't had a double-digit lose, and he's not going to have a double-digit losing season. He was finished last season 27-9. If they lose a game at any point in the NCAA tournament, he'll still be under 10. So he will, in his first 2 seasons as a head coach, he will not have double-digit losses. That's massive. You know, you look at, he has 53 wins to 17 losses as a head coach. And he seems to have a lot of fun with his team, which is another really cool thing that I like seeing. So I think it's going to be a game, but I ultimately pick Houston. And then NC State and Marquette, I love this. You know, you have an ACC versus a Big East. That means one of the ACC Big East schools accounting for 7 of 16 Sweet 16 spots. One of them is going to lose. One of them is going to fall off. And NC State this season they turned on late, you know, and anybody that takes credit away from NC State, you'd have to take credit away from so many teams out there. The teams that got hot, the teams that got into the tournament and got hot. Remember when Syracuse was like a 10 seed and they got hot, they caught fire? You never know, and NC State's an 11 seed. You never know what's going to happen, right? You get in there, it's a new season, it's a new opportunity, and NC State has been going out there, just giving it all they have. And again, I don't want to hear anybody say, are you tired? Because NC State's had a bunch of days off, and, you know, the most days off that they've had since the ACC tournament. And so, you know, I think, and so I think for them in this situation, you know, it's good. It's good to see NC State here. It's good to see NC State winning. It's good to see a team that was counted out count themselves in. It was good to see them be the keepers of their own destiny. They knew they had to win the ACC tournament to get in. They won the ACC tournament and they got in, and they won 2 games since then. And you look at, you know, who they beat. They beat Texas Tech of the Big 12 80-67, and then they beat Oakland, who had beaten Kentucky the 11 against the 14 seeded Oakland, 79-73 in a really tough game with the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. And now we have NC State going up against Marquette and Shaka Smart. I mean, Shaka Smart had some tough times in Texas, but before that, he had the remarkable run with VCU, and why so many people know who Shaka Smart is, I think, is because of that run. And then with the Marquette Golden Eagles, he has gotten them on this 2 line. He's gotten them in this place where they're not a 1 seed, but they're really close. They're on the bottom half of the bracket. He's put them into a great situation. Marquette had success under Buzz Williams, who then went to Virginia Tech and then Texas A&M, and now Marquette's having success with having this era with Shaka Smart. They've had wonderful success, and now they're going back to their first Sweet 16 in a long time after beating Western Kentucky 87-69 and then beating Colorado, who won the play-in game over Florida. They beat them 81-77 in a really tough game. And Marquette going into this game, this is a danger zone. I have Houston and Marquette playing in the Elite Eight, but NC State is a danger zone here. This is a trip 'em game. I don't count NC State out of anything. I think NC State's got a really good shot. It's really hard to guard DJ Burns, and I think that the fire that they have, the team camaraderie that they have, Kevin Keatts is coaching this team playing the way that they play. I mean, Kevin Keatts is not too far removed from having a team that had, they were depleted and they had injuries and they had so many things going on. And just, I feel like there's things that have happened that shouldn't count against him. And now we see Kevin Keatts with this team, a team that's grown, a team that's learned who they are. And DJ Burns was a pain in the butt during the season. If you watched him in a game, I'm looking at him and Kevin Keatts said, DJ Burns gets fouled on a lot of calls that they don't call. And I'm turning around saying, I think DJ Burns fouls somebody on every single play, offense or defense, because that man is just, he's a big old dude and he's out there just, he's not afraid to bang bodies. He'd be a good Big East player, and now he gets to play against the Big East. So we'll see how they do in this one. I had Marquette going into the tournament. I can fully see NC State. These are 2 amazing teams. It's sad to see that one of them has to knock the other one out. We're going to go to the other side of the bracket as we continue the drive here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The drive proudly presented by the fantastic team at Great Lakes Honda City. Great Lakes Honda City, there for you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in today. And we'll be back right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to give you the Midwest and the West portions of the bracket as we analyze what's to come in just a few hours in the NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Make sure you reach out to GG Cards and Breaks by heading out there on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And on Sundays from 10 to 5, you'll find GG Cards and Breaks. And guess what, folks? For those of you watching and listening live, today, March 27th, from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m., you can go to GG Cards and Breaks for the monthly trade night. That's right, baby. Tonight is trade night, and that means that you can bring out all of your cards, or if you don't have any cards, that's fine. Or if you don't want to bring any of the ones that you have, that's fine too. You can bring your cards. You don't have to bring your cards. You can just come with yourself, or you can come with your cards. Come with a friend. Come with a family member. Come with a date. Come out to GG Cards and Breaks. It's going to be so much fun. It always is. There's so many people there, all different ages. You have kids that are like 10 years old, and you have people in their 60s. People that have collected cards forever. People that started collecting cards this week. So come one, come all. It doesn't matter if you've ever been before. It doesn't matter if you've ever collected before. It doesn't matter if you bring your cards or you don't bring your cards. All are welcome. I'll be set up there with my cards that I have for sale as well as for trade. And I can't wait to see you all at GG Cards and Breaks tonight, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. And you will once again find them Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Sundays from 10 to 5. And tonight they're going to be extending, as they're open from 10 to 6 today, And then they will have from 6:30 to 9:30 trade night. And like I said, I'll be out there, so come over, say hello, say what's up. Love to talk with you. Love to see you. Appreciate the people that watch and listen to the show that come out to GG Cards and Breaks. It means a lot to me, and look forward to meeting you all. I've gotten to meet a bunch of people through our awesome trade nights at GG Cards and Breaks, and I'm looking forward to meeting some new people today and seeing some people that I've seen before. So I love it. Buying, selling, trading. I'm going to be out there wheeling and dealing, and I hope you will be too. It's a great community, and it's a great event put on by Josh and Anthony at GG Cards and Breaks. So we'll see you tonight, March 27th from 6:30 to 9:30 at GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. And we will see you there throughout the week as well. By the way, as you buy, sell, and trade with other people in the sports card community, you can also continue to buy from GG Cards and Breaks. So everything in the store that's for sale continues to be for sale tonight in the extended hours, just so you know. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, we're breaking down the bracket, getting you ready for the Sweet 16 in the NCAA Division I men's basketball bracket. So let's jump into the Midwest. Purdue going up, the number 1 seed. Purdue. The 16 seeded Fairleigh Dickinson bumped him out last year, but Zach Edey, he's getting after it, and Zach Edey up against Grambling State, they won 78-50, and then they beat Utah State 106-67. So they won their first game by 28 points, and they won their second. Now, mind you, folks, Grambling State is from the SWAC, who doesn't get a lot of respect. Purdue beat them by 28. Utah State out of the Mountain West has gotten a ton of respect with the amount of spots that they got in this year, and Purdue beat them by almost 40 points, 39 points. Just to make a note, I'm not knocking the Mountain West. I'm saying if the Mountain West should have 6 spots in, which I don't think they should have, and Purdue just took it to Utah State, and then Utah State lost their coach right after, and that's the more sad part of this whole thing. Gonzaga is on the other side of this matchup. Gonzaga defeated McNeese, the potential trip-em game that some people thought. They defeated McNeese in the first round, round of 64, I should say, a 5 seed over a 12 seed, 86-65. Then they went out there and defeated Kansas, 89-68. So they win their first game by 21 points, and they win their second game by 21 points. Gonzaga beating McNeese by 21, then beating Kansas of the Big 12 by 21, and now they'll face off against Purdue in the Sweet 16 round. Zach Edey going up against those bodies of Gonzaga. Man, I would love to see Zach Edey against Drew Timme, but Drew Timme finished up his time at Gonzaga last season. Great run by Drew Timme. I still miss him, man. When I was thinking about the tournament, that's who I was thinking about. I was like, man, I miss having Drew Timme out there. But it's all good. It's all good, and definitely excited to see what's going to happen in this game. I think this is a huge game. I think it's an awesome game, and it's an awesome opportunity to see what's going to shake out of all of this. Purdue going up, Purdue being the 1 seed, and the expectation and the anticipation that Purdue being a 1 seed is going to be able to win this game, but you can never count out the Gonzaga Bulldogs. I'll tell you this right now, if Gonzaga beats Purdue, then all of a sudden people are going to flip and go, oh, Gonzaga's going to win the da-da-da-da. Like I said, Mark Few, I'm not saying that they didn't fight. I'm not saying that they didn't try. I'm just saying maybe Mark Few said, hey, let's not go full throttle. Let's go intermediate throttle. Let's go 3/4 throttle. Let's not go full throttle until we're in the tournament when they think we're not that good this year. And then bang, we get them, right? You got to play dead sometimes. Got to play possum. So, in this case, got to play bulldog. We'll see. Gonzaga's got a big test up against Purdue. I'm super excited about this. A lot of respect for what both teams are doing. Creighton at Tennessee. This is a game that I got circled on the bracket here. I'm really, really looking forward to this game, and I'm excited about what this game is going to bring. I believe in my bracket I had exactly this game here. I had a Creighton going up against Tennessee, and I had Tennessee winning this because Tennessee is one of my Final Four teams, but Creighton is a dangerous team. Creighton is a team that you cannot underestimate, you cannot overlook. I guess you could technically underestimate them and overlook them, but if you were to do so, I don't know if that would bode well for you and your team if you were the head coach. to overlook this. Creighton coming out of the Big East, Creighton has had themselves a season. They have shown under Greg McDermott that they can continue to be a dangerous team year in and year out, regardless of who is in the NCAA tournament. And Tennessee's found, they found their come up. Tennessee did some good things last year, and now Tennessee's got an opportunity to do some good things this year. And I have a lot of respect for both of these teams. I think this is a hard game to pick. It was a hard game to pick because I really think that either one of these teams can move on. I think Tennessee is ultimately going to have a little bit more, but Creighton is one of those teams that you can't overlook. Covering Creighton over these last couple of years and interviewing Creighton in last year's NCAA tournament and feeling like they got a bad call that went in favor of San Diego State. And then you look at, I was with them at Big East Media Day. I was interviewing Greg McDermott and Cole Brenner and so on and so forth. And so, I mean, I've had a really awesome time speaking with the team. I've had a nice time getting to cover the team, getting to know the team, getting to know Coach McDermott. And I feel like Creighton is still somewhat overlooked at times, which I don't understand, but I think that they're definitely, they're a team that creates opportunity, and they're a team that has really, I mean, they were out in the quarterfinals to the Providence Friars, which was a little head scratching, but they did defeat Marquette this season, late in the season when Marquette was 5th in the country. They defeated UConn when they didn't just defeat UConn. They defeated UConn when UConn was ranked number 1. They were in, Creighton was playing at home in Omaha, and they defeated UConn 85-66 in that game. They beat a Butler team that I thought was pretty good this year, beat them at home and on the road. Or I'm sorry, they lost to them at home and they beat them on the road when they got them the second time around. They lost to UConn earlier on in the season, 62-48, but did hold UConn to 62 points, pardon me here. They beat St. John's. They had lost to Marquette by 5 earlier in the season on the road. They beat Alabama. So you look at Alabama still in the tournament. They beat Alabama in non-conference play. Speaking of Creighton, that was at home for Creighton. They won at Nebraska, who made the tournament. They lost to Colorado State, who made the tournament. So, we'll see. We'll see with what the Creighton Blue Jays can put together in this game. But like I said, I have a lot of respect for Coach McDermott. I think that this team, I think that with Coach McDermott, this is a team that can make the Elite Eight. I think this is a team that can at least make the Elite Eight. And, Ryan Kalkbrenner, and I said Cole Brenner before, my apologies, but Ryan Kalkbrenner, as well as Trey Alexander, I got to spend some time with them going into the season along with Coach. And I think Creighton, they've had such a come up, and they joined the Big East, which is arguably in the top 2 conferences in Division I men's college basketball. And yet they've hung with them, and Creighton has found their own nest, right? They've made a home for themselves in the Big East, and they've been a danger in the Big East. And, they've really integrated themselves like Marquette did so many years ago. I think Creighton's done the same thing nationally and within the conference, has been a dangerous team. Now on Tennessee's side in the SEC, Tennessee played Syracuse on neutral court, and they beat Syracuse 73-56. They lost to Purdue. Tennessee did this year 71-67. They lost to Kansas this year 69-60. They lost at North Carolina 100-92. They defeated Illinois this year in non-conference play 86-79 when Illinois was 20th in the country. Then they played Norfolk State and Tarleton State and Georgia Southern and whatever. And then when Ole Miss was ranked, they beat them by 26 in that game. They beat Florida, who made the tournament, but lost in their first game of this tournament. They beat Florida 85-66. And they beat Alabama in conference in the SEC. Alabama is obviously still in the tournament. They beat Kentucky, who was in the tournament but got bumped out. They lost to Texas A&M on the road 85-69. Texas A&M made the tournament. They beat Texas A&M in Tennessee. They beat Auburn, who made the tournament. They beat Alabama on the road later on in the season Those teams were ranked. They won at South Carolina, who made the tournament but didn't do anything in it this year, 66-59. And then they lost to Kentucky, and they lost to Mississippi State. Tennessee did not have a good showing in the SEC tournament by any stretch of the imagination, but Tennessee's had a good showing nationally. So they actually lost in the quarterfinals to Mississippi State, 73-56 of the SEC tournament. But, to me, they've obviously bounced back. They found a way. Rick Barnes, who I spent time with last year, who I always appreciate his time as well, a longtime head coach. Rick Barnes is leading this team, led him over Texas. Another coach that I have tremendous respect for, and Rodney Terry, and his faith in God means a lot to me. So, seeing that game 62-58, Tennessee getting over Texas, Tennessee didn't have as swell to me of a finish to their regular season. I think Tennessee can get there. I picked Tennessee to get there, but I think the Creighton Blue Jays are going to give them a game. I don't have Creighton winning, but I think they're going to give them a game at least. And then in the West bracket, we literally have the opportunity for a North Carolina-South Carolina Mason-Dixon line matchup in the ACC. North Carolina plays Alabama, Clemson plays Arizona. If North Carolina and Clemson win, it's going to even more prove my point that the NCAA selection committee was way off in their thoughts on the ACC. So when we take a look at the matchups that we have here, North Carolina and Alabama, spent time covering North Carolina of over a decade, from Roy Williams to Hubert Davis, and have spent time speaking with Nate Oates as well of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama, not just a football school anymore. Nate Oates did some good things last year, is doing some good things this year. North Carolina's a 1 seed, Alabama's a 4 seed. The North Carolina Tar Heels have Armando Bacot, obviously here one more time around. He's decided twice that he wasn't going to go to the NBA, and it's worked out in his favor. We look at North Carolina and the streak of wins that they had. They had 8 wins in a row before losing to NC State in the ACC tournament championship game. So they made it to the championship game. They beat Duke along the way when they played Duke in that rivalry game the last day of the regular season. And so they won at Duke when Duke was 9th in the nation, 84-79. They beat NC State earlier on in the season. They also beat Duke at home in in Chapel Hill, 93-84. So they got the best of Duke twice. But you also look at a North Carolina team, and when they played up against Clemson, they beat Clemson on the road when Clemson was ranked in the top 16. They beat them 65-55. Then they lost to Clemson 80-76 the second time around when they played Clemson at home in Chapel Hill. Now, North Carolina had a non-conference schedule where they played Arkansas and beat Arkansas when Arkansas was ranked 20th, and they beat Tennessee, as we had mentioned, 100-92. They lost to UConn 87-76 when UConn was ranked in the top 5 in the nation. They lost to Kentucky, who made the tournament, and they beat Oklahoma, who didn't end up making the tournament, but Oklahoma was ranked 7th in the nation at the time. So, North Carolina, to me, there is some weakness here, and there is a chance for Alabama to overtake them in this game. I do believe that could happen. I think North Carolina's got some talent. I think that talent has underperformed the last couple of years, and this year might be the year where that talent, like an Armando Bacot, finally, puts themselves in a place where nationally they're performing up to, that hope and that I don't even want to call, I don't even want to say the hype, because the hype always seems to be, higher even if they perform in a good way. But, I think Armando Bacot, this could, finally be the run here. Now, speaking of runs, Alabama this season had a run where they lost 4 out of 5 games in non-conference play. They lost to Clemson 85-77. And that's interesting because they could play Clemson in the next round if they both win. They lost to Purdue 92-86. Those games were both at home. They lost at Creighton 85-82, and they lost to Arizona 87-74, who they could also be playing. So they've lost to both teams that they would be playing in the Elite Eight. If Alabama beats North Carolina, they will play Clemson or Arizona, and they lost to both of them this season in non-conference play, just to make a note of that. They also lost to Ohio State, who did not make the tournament. And then when you look at some of these other games, Alabama lost to Tennessee 91-77 on the road. They beat Auburn, who didn't do anything in the tournament, but beat them 79-75. Auburn did make the tournament. Then they lost to Auburn 99-81 on the road. They beat Texas A&M 100-75 at home. They beat Florida 98-93 at home. They lost to Kentucky 117-95 on the road. And they would lose to Tennessee, Florida, and Florida again in 3 of the last 4 games, only defeating Arkansas within that run. So not a great showing for Alabama to end the season, but they went up against Charleston 109-96. Charleston gave them everything they could, and then Grand Canyon gave them a game for a while too. So, I mean, Alabama to me is kind of a shaky team in the Sweet 16, and I think that North Carolina is a little bit of a shaky team too, but I ultimately have North Carolina moving on over this game, but I could see this game go to overtime. I really could. The last one that we have to talk about in the Sweet 16 as we break this down in what I like to call the drive, driving you through the tournament, proudly presented by Great Lakes Honda City, where you can drive off their lot today with new and used vehicles, and you can buy as well as lease on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Clemson playing Arizona in the West bracket. Clemson is that team that's been flying under the radar. They started off the season so very strong, and then people decided to write them off. And Arizona, one of those teams that's going to be moving to the Big 12, strange but true. You know, we're going to see UCF playing Arizona in conference games that are over 2,000 miles apart. Not too different from what we're going to see with those old Pac-12 teams like Arizona, the other Pac-12 teams, Oregon, USC, UCLA, and Washington joining the Big Ten, and how strange those trips are going to be. But let's go to Clemson. Clemson started off the season this season, and they had made themselves a very, very healthy run. They started off the season with many a win, folks. They had 9 straight wins to start. I thought they started 10-0, but they had 9 straight wins this season to start the season. And they beat, within that time, they beat Alabama, who they could play again, like I mentioned, on the road, 85-77. They beat Boise State from the Mountain West in non-conference play, 85-68. They beat South Carolina in non-conference play, 72-67, that being at home. And Clemson also beat TCU, who made the tournament. They beat them at home, 74-66. And then they got into tournament, or into the ACC play, and after playing Pitt, they would then play at Miami, North Carolina at home, and at Virginia Tech. Lose all those. Lose to Georgia Tech at home. Beat Boston College within that. They went on a streak where they lost 5 of 7 games, losing at Miami, North Carolina, at Virginia Tech, beating Boston College, losing against Georgia Tech at home, beating Florida State on the road, and then losing to Duke 72-71. On the road when Duke was ranked 12th in the nation. Then they defeated Louisville. Then they lost to Virginia, who got bumped out of this tournament in the first 4 in those play-in games. Then they beat North Carolina when they faced them 80-76 the second time around. Beat them on the road when they were ranked 3rd in the country, that being the Tar Heels. They won at Syracuse. They beat Miami the second time around, this time at home. Lost to NC State, and then they would beat Georgia Tech on the road, Florida State, Pitt at home, lose to Notre Dame, beat Syracuse when they got to play them again. So they got 2 wins over Syracuse for Joe Girard, who played there for 4 years. Then they lost at Wake Forest, and then they lost to Boston College. I mean, you think about where Clemson was at. Clemson lost in the second round, 76-55 to Boston College. They didn't make it past the second round. They didn't play in the first round, so they lost their first game of the ACC tournament this year. And here they are in the Sweet 16. Again, you lose early in the ACC tournament, but nationally you make it to the final 16 of 462 teams. What does that say? It says the ACC was harder for them to get through than what they just got through. So looking at Clemson, I think that, you know, this is a team that started off hot and granted didn't play a lot of ranked teams when they were starting off hot there. Played only one ranked team in their 9-0 start. Sounds like some other conferences I know. But they found a way to get through it. You know, they'd win a few, then lose, and win a few, then lose. They know what it's like to go through losses. They know what it's like to go through adversity, and that could help them here in this case. They got a good inside-out team. You got P.J. Hall, you got Chase Hunter, Joe Girard III. You got a bunch of dogs on that team. And then on the other side of it, you got a bunch of cats, the Arizona Wildcats. and what they have to give to this matchup. The Arizona Wildcats, this season, they defeated Duke on the road 78-73 in their second game of the season when Duke was 2 in the nation. Then we look at the rest of their non-conference. They beat Colgate at home 82-55. They beat Wisconsin, who did nothing in the tournament. Wisconsin was 23 in the country. They beat them at home 98-73. They lost to Purdue 92-84 at home. They beat Alabama 87-74. They lost to FAU 96-95 at home when FAU was ranked 14th in the nation. They had a loss to Stanford, who didn't make the tournament, and that was on the road. And then you look at their play inside of the Pac-12. They lost at Washington State 73-70. They lost at Oregon State, who didn't make the tournament, 83-80. They lost to Washington State at home when they played them a second time around, 77-74. They lost on the road at USC, who didn't make the tournament, 78-65. And they lost to Oregon 67-59. And Oregon didn't go anywhere in this year's tournament, and they lost to Oregon in the last Pac-12 tournament ever. So, it's definitely been a road for the Arizona Wildcats. I think that Clemson's got a really good chance of winning this game. I really do. I really, really do. And I think we could see Clemson versus North Carolina in round 2 of the ACC tournament, I guess. So we shall see. But that's your primer for the Sweet 16 coming up for men's Division I basketball for the NCAA tournament. Very excited about it. All 4 of my Final Four are still alive with 16 teams left, which is awesome. And I look forward to everything that is to come. I want to thank you for listening and watching today's show of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we brought you through the drive, giving you that primer. Let's go through the drive one more time. As we go through the drive here on Wake Up Call, proudly presented by Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Make sure you get to Great Lakes Honda City today and enjoy the difference of buying from a place that I bought from for over a decade. Big time thanks to my guest, Trevor Roe, who allowed me the opportunity of telling his exclusive first interview since committing to LeMoyne, giving us the exclusive, the first conversation with Trevor Roe as the Fayetteville Manlius and Central New York native returns home to Central New York, to LeMoyne, after spending a season in Radford where he redshirted. So it's like he never left. He will have 4 years at LeMoyne as LeMoyne steps into Division I. So if he stays at LeMoyne all the way through for 4 years, Trevor Roe will be at LeMoyne when LeMoyne has the opportunity to advance to the NCAA tournament, which is pretty cool. And very excited for Trevor Roe, the 6'8" forward, FM Fayetteville Manlius alum, as well as Central New York native. His father, Matt Roe, played for Syracuse. And so Trevor Roe coming home and gave us the exclusive first interview after making that decision to commit to the LeMoyne Dolphins men's basketball program. And we brought you through the NCAA tournament Sweet 16 coming up in what we call The Drive, proudly presented by Great Lakes Honda City. With that being said, thank you for watching and listening on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com worldwide, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Monday through Friday. And a big time thanks to everybody that has found us on the many podcasting platforms: Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, as well as Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And, of course, make sure you visit our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, where every Wednesday, like today, you can go and get my DT Dolphin. Buy one, get one on Wednesdays. Go get a DT Dolphin today in honor of the LeMoyne College Dolphins on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like. It's the only home of the DT Dolphin in the world. Carvel DeWitt, right here in our community, just a few minutes from LeMoyne's campus, has the DT Dolphin. Green for the Dolphins, mint chocolate chip ice cream, hot fudge, whipped cream, and a cherry, green and gold sprinkles, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream. Go and get them. Buy one, get one every Wednesday, including today. The Wildcat Sports Pub, where I was yesterday picking up the best fried dough in Central and Upstate New York. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, and Mother's Cupboard, where you can 7 days a week get my sandwich, the Cuse McMother. And it is a great way to start and or continue your day. Bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and eat it with syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich, and you can get it only at Mother's Cupboard, Syracuse staple restaurant, part of the fabric of our city on 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. The LeMoyne College Dolphins are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins every single Wednesday. During Dolphin time, you will find the LeMoyne College Dolphins swimming right to wherever you are with AD and DT the first and third Wednesday of each month, with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. The Dolphin Dive, second and fourth Wednesday of each month, diving into the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. And we gave you the Dolphin Dive today. We're going to give you AD and DT tomorrow. So under promise, over deliver, as we always do in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the LeMoyne College Dolphins. Find all of our coverage by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and the notification bell, and find the LeMoyne Dolphins playlist on that YouTube channel. You can also find the Dolphins on wakeupcalldt.com and underneath the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com, as well as on the homepage. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, and you know what it is. Fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bobcats every single month. Throughout the year, we bring you men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports. And baseball is in full swing, pun fully intended, as Sean Peak's got the crew in their second season ever at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, right there on James Street, right outside of our city. The Bobcat Buzz coming to you every single month. Student athletes, coaches, and administration join me from Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. We call it the Bobcat Buzz. You can find it by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Hit the notification bell and check out our BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bobcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and you can find them on the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And as always, go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are the newest exclusive multimedia marketing partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bearcats during Bearcat Time every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And through each month, you will find multiple episodes of the Bearcat Break Room with student athletes, coaches, and administration. And once a month on Tuesday, you will find Moments with Marshall with Gene Marshall, the athletics director of Binghamton University, giving us an inside look at Binghamton University's athletic department, what's happening and what's to come. Gene Marshall, as well as the student athletes, coaches, and administration, thank you for entrusting me with the story of Binghamton University. It is an honor, and I appreciate it. You can find all of our Bearcat coverage by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and clicking subscribe and the notification bell. You'll find the Binghamton University playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bearcats B by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on the show, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at VakeUpCall_DT. I don't know why I do accents sometimes. I just do. I like doing impressions. It's fun for me. Find us on all of those. Thanks to Trevor Roe. Thanks to Ma and Pa's for being the snack capital. Go and get their freeze-dried candy today. You can get on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. You can get their Rainbow Rounds, their Flavor Bursts, their Brain Busters, and their Mambos, and they taste like the candy that I grew up with. They're exquisite. They're so good. And you got the kettle corn, the premium corn, the popcorn, the cotton candy, the chocolate dipped everything. And folks, it's almost Easter. If you're going to make an Easter basket with the best of the best, so that whoever you're making it for can wake up Easter morning and find the coolest basket around, you got to go to 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. That's where the taste buds go. They go to Ma and Pa's. So we'll see you over there. 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Thanks to Trevor for giving us the exclusive first conversation since coming home and committing to LeMoyne. I'm really happy for you, brother, and I can't wait to see you back at home. Thanks for following us through The Drive, proudly presented by Great Lakes Honda City as we talk to you about the NCAA Tournament. And tomorrow the tournament begins again with the Sweet 16, and Major League Baseball has its official beginning. So I'm very excited for that. I cannot wait to talk to Papa Joe about opening day of baseball once again, as we always get to do here on Wake Up Call with PJ. PJ, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you tonight from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at GG Cards and Breaks for trade night on site at the store, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. You can go there during the day today, too, during normal hours 10 to 6 to shop before trade night. We'll see you out there tonight for trade night. Thanks to Josh and Anthony and the whole team at GG Cards and Breaks. Have a wonderful day. Be safe. Tell the ones you love that you love them. Be good to each other. Love yourself and be good to yourself. God bless.